Well, Jude says that he is a servant of Christ. And he also says that he is the brother of Christ and the brother of James. Jude also says that he was sanctified. He says that he was called out. He's separated from everybody else. He has been called for a mission. Jude says that he is different. He says that I am chosen. Are y'all walking with me? And then he tells his constituents and those who are around, mercy and peace unto you. Well, in the Bible days, in this book of Jude, there was some dissension among the Christians. They were toiling with the option of either moving on or staying faithful to God. They did not understand how a church, how a God that's loving, how a God that can do all these things can allow his church to be so oppressed by the outside world. And they were losing their grip on faith. Seems like every time they take 2 steps forward, they would take 5 steps backwards, and it began to wear on them. They became to a point where they wanted to let it go. It's easier to walk with the crowd than against the flow. So God found out about this, and he made sure that the Spirit of God was in the mind of Jude. Jude had to encourage them and remind them of just how good God had been to them. Sometimes we need to be reminded of how God has been so good to us. We have to be reminded of how he picked us up from our destitute state. We have to be reminded how without him we would have absolutely nothing. Without him we wouldn't even have our being. Without him we wouldn't be able to inhale and to exhale. But every now and then we began to take these things for granted, and we think it's owed to us and we expect it. Are y'all walking with me? But every day above ground, every day that you can still walk, every day you can still talk, every day you can still see is a blessing that God has bestowed upon you. Are y'all walking with me? Well, Jude had to remind them, he had to remind them that God can remove you from your blessed space. God can turn your life upside down. God can take the sun away from you and put you in a room full of darkness. He reminded them that their life wasn't what it ought to be, but God was still shining his light and blessings upon them. So he had to regurgitate what happened in the old time days when the Lord had freed the children of Israel from the hands of the enemy. He had to remind them that although God released them from the hand of Pharaoh, although he released them from the hands of the Egyptians, he blessed them in the wilderness, gave them manna from heaven, gave them quail from the thickets, gave them shoes that never wore out, gave them garments that never tore, gave them direction at nighttime, gave them direction during the day. People believe that this was not enough for the children of Israel, because even in the midst of their blessings, they began to complain to the Most High God. Even when God was supplying their need, they began to complain because he was not supplying their want. Jude had to remind them that if you're not careful, and if you don't start giving God praise, if you don't start recognizing that he can do all things but fail, God will take the blessings that you complaining about and strip them from you. Jude had to remind them that God did not call you to get in your comfort zone. God did not call you to sit down and prop your feet up. God did not call you just to give you a position in the church. God did not call you to give you a title on your name, but God called you to make a difference in a dying world that's going from heaven down to hell. God called you to be bold in your speaking, be right in your teaching, and be brilliant in your preaching. God called you to make a difference. It's not you that's keeping you in the race. It's not you that's fighting the good fight. It's not you that's standing strong. But if you hold on to God's unchanging hands, it's God who will keep you. God who will bring you through. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. It's God keeping you. So he tells them, keep yourself in the love of God, looking for the mercy of your Lord and Savior. I stopped by to let you know that even on today, just like yesterday, just like last week, just like last year, it's still not about you. 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 But God called you to make a difference. We need some Judes that's not afraid to go against the flow. We need some Judes who's not afraid to tell it like it is. We need some Jews that don't mind stepping on a few feet, crunching a few toes. We need some Jews. Jude told them, folk are gonna come against you. Have compassion. There are gonna be folk you don't like. Have compassion. Some gonna stab you in the back. Have compassion. Some gonna talk about you. Have compassion. They'll even scandalize your name. Have compassion. Have compassion. Because when you have compassion on your brother, you are now walking in the newness of God. Look what Christ did. Had compassion when they spat on him. Had compassion when they whipped him. Had compassion when they mocked him. Had compassion when they hung him. Had compassion when they nailed him. You know how I know? Because he said, Father, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. But some of us think we're bigger than God. You better not talk about me. You better not look at me wrong. You better not say nothing about me. But I stopped by to let you know, if you stop trying to fight your own fight, if you stop trying to beat your own bout, God will. God will. God will. God will fight your battle. You ain't big enough. You ain't strong enough. You ain't wide enough. You ain't deep enough. God will fight your battle. Stop worrying about the little stuff and make a difference. Make a difference. But there were some folk in the congregation who still didn't get it. Thought it was all about them. Thought it was themselves who got it from A to Z. So Jude, deep down in his belly, in the recesses of his soul, had a conversation with the Lord. And then he said, I know what I got to do. I got to put it in a summarized fashion and let you know, now unto him that is able to
from falling. It ain't about you, because if it was, you fallen by now. It ain't about you. If it was, you'd be dead right now. But unto him who's able to keep you from falling. Some of us was falling. Some of us was going down. Hands in our pockets. Backs against the rope. Getting beat on every side. Left hook. Right jab. Getting beat up on every side. But here comes God with that rope-a-dope. They thought he was asleep. They thought he was tired. But here comes God with that rope-a-dope. I see him move. I see him down. I see him move. Here comes God. Y'all better watch out. Your enemy have nothing on you. Your enemy had nothing on you. So he says now, that's what he said, unto him that is able to keep you from falling and present you. So it don't mean how well I can pray, Deacon Wiley. It don't mean how well I can preach, because the Spirit of God has to present us unto the Father. Are y'all walking with me? He will present us faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy.